Hi, in update 10.3, which by the way is already out, the developers will change the balance of many tanks of the 10th level, and some of them, as you realize, will become imbalanced. So in this video I want to show you the best tanks of the update, which you should definitely pump, so sit back, click on the likes and subscribe. And by the way, if this video will gather more than 2000 likes, then I will make a video about the worst update tanks, which are definitely not worth pumping. So everything is in your hands, my favorite tankers. Well, now I wish everyone a pleasant viewing, and we begin. So, let's get started then. We are moving with you to the list of the best pumped tanks from the 10.3 update, and today the first to open our list will be a medium German tank of the 10th level Leopard 1. I think many of you already know that this tank in the right hands can do wonders, but for some reason the developers thought that this is not enough, and decided in update 10.3 to increase its visibility to 270 meters, and also decided to reduce the reload time by 0.29 seconds. So it turns out that the Leopard will have a DPM of almost 4000. You understand? Well, just think about it. The only disadvantage is that the gun turn limit will be reduced by 1 degree. That is, it had 9 degrees and will become 8. In principle, not critical at all. It is a definite buff, and I definitely advise you to swing this tank. Well, only if you have straight hands. But if you like something heavier and with armor, then the Jagdpanzer E100 will definitely suit you in update 10.3. So, it will have slightly reduced visibility and projectile velocity, and the reload time will be increased by 0.79 seconds. You'll think it's a nerf, but it's not, because it will have improved ground handling and turning speed. And most importantly, there will be added gear in Alfram cores. I mean, you realize he's already shooting 1000 damage all the time, and he's going to be shooting 1200 damage. It's just crazy. It's a definite buff, and this tank should definitely be rocketed. But if for some reason Jagdpanzer or Appart doesn't suit you, then you just have to pump mouse. I can't believe I'm saying this myself, but the developers finally upgraded mouse normally. So it has reduced projectile velocity, slightly worsened gun stabilization, reduced reload time and acquisition time by 0.95 seconds and 0.4 seconds respectively, but improved ground mobility and added ammunition mounted protection, and also changed the armor to reduce the likelihood of punching the tank in the forehead through the roller. That is, it turns out the tank will now shoot faster, drives faster, it will add a little bit of health points, and most importantly, it will now not be punched in the roller. That's just awesome. Definitely advise you to swing this tank. Well, the next tank on our list is the IS-7. If you suddenly have not yet pumped out this tank or suddenly stopped playing on it, then in update 10.3 I strongly advise you to start playing on this tank. So, it will have reduced engine power and maximum forward speed by 3 km per hour. And also armor penetration will be reduced by 5 mm for AP shells and increased by 17 mm for APCR shells. You are about to think that I am carrying, and what is the point of rocking this tank? But he will add tungsten core shells and increase durability by 100 units. I perfectly understand that many people love the IS for being a very agile heavy, but it is first and foremost a heavy and must do damage in tank. Also, the most important thing is to live a very long time, and now it will be able to live much longer and do damage with cores just many times more. And I'm just sure, with the new equipment in the form of cores, your stats on the IS-7 will rise, well, just in times, so go for it. So, the next tank, which also needs to be pumped up, is Progetto 65. It will improve the engine power and the reload of each shell in the drum by 0. 48, 0, 96 and 0.48 seconds, but reduce the turret armor, the number of health points and armor penetration of all types of shells. In fact, it's a buff because the tank will now go much faster and will still be much more DPM, and the fact that it reduces the armor in the turret in fact is not terrible, because there and so armor was not. The only nerf is minus a little bit of health points and minus a little bit of armor penetration. But still, in my opinion, this tank will be much better, and I advise everyone to pump it. Alright, let's move on. WZ-121. So, it worsens the engine power and speed of flight of shells, but will add tungsten cores and ammunition improved gunpowder. So, you know, it cuts back on projectile velocity, but adds gunpowder. Basically, well, compensation, right? But the most important thing is of course the tungsten cores, meaning you will now be able to deal even more damage. That's a definite buff. The fact that it will start to go a little bit slower, I think that's okay. You'll be able to do more damage. And now, unexpectedly, the Kranvine. Maybe this tank will finally get some play, so he will improve the engine power as well as the maximum speed by 4 kilometers per hour. And also passability on the ground, the speed of turning the hull and reloading time in the drum at 0.49 seconds for each shell. The only disadvantage is that it will worsen the time of separation by 0.7 seconds and armor penetration by 5 and 10 for AP and heat shells. That is, I think you understand, the tank will become much faster, DPM more, but will become a little bit slanted. But since the crane has a calibration of the sight, I think everything is obvious, it is all fixed, and the tank in the 10.3 update is definitely worth swinging. Moving on, Hori Type to 3. Strength points will be increased to 1900. Frontal and side armor will be strengthened. Ground clearance will be improved, but turning speed will be reduced. Viewing radius will be reduced by 10 meters, not critical, and the connection time will increase by 0.2 seconds, also will increase the spread of the gun. That is, you understand, the tank adds health points, improve mobility and armor, but a little bit make it slanted, but I think it is not critical. The tank will be better for anyone and I definitely advise you to pump it. So, well, the next tank we have STB1. This is already a great machine on its level, but the developers decided to update it even more. So the type of premium shell will change to heat. Charging time will be reduced by 0.73 seconds. The average one-time damage will be reduced by 20 units for the F-bomb and base projectile, but will increase by 20 units for the premium heat projectile. But there will also be a slight deterioration in the speed of turning on the spot. That is, the tank will finally be given a normal shell and also increase the DPM. They'll cut damage a bit, but I think the DPM will make up for it. Okay, but we still have 3 more tanks that well, not that I'm going to pump them all up, but I suggest you at least take a look at them. So, yo, it's already a fine tank at its level. Well, a very good heavy tank with a drum. In update 10.3, the developers will slightly reduce the speed of turret rotation, but increase the speed of hull rotation, and also improve cross-country ability on the ground. And also during the action of the emergency caterpillar, speedback will be 7 kilometers per hour. That is, the tank is already good enough, and it will be made even faster. Passable. Well, pump, I'm sure you will not regret it. Well, and the penultimate tank we have Object 263, so his view is reduced to 240 meters. In fact, it's not critical because it's a TDS, but the charging time is reduced by 0.29 seconds. The armor of the roof and sides of the hull, and also the forward part of the deckhouse is improved. The base and premium projectile types are changed to AP and heat respectively. The armor penetration of the former is reduced by 15 mm, while the latter will increase to 30 mm, and for both projectiles will reduce the speed of flight. That is, the tank slightly increases DPM, adds a bunch of armor, but cuts the damage and reduces the penetration of a conventional projectile. Basically, it's a definite buff. It's a tank that needs to be pumped because it will now tank even more and do even more damage. Well, the last tank that I recommend pumping is the WZ-113G FT. It will be improved frontal armor, 0.8 seconds of separation time, as well as passability on the ground, engine power, and maximum speed. The only disadvantage is that it will worsen the spread, armor penetration, and speed of turning on the spot. Overview will be 240 meters and the number of health points 2000. That is, this tank will now become some kind of assault TDS because it will improve armor, passability, maximum speed. Now this tank will just ride around with pullers or stitches and just deal out plushies for tons of damage. So I would also advise you to upgrade this tank, but not as much as the tanks that were at the very beginning of the list. And that's it, bros, I'm done. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you suddenly disagree with my opinion, then write your opinion in the comments. I will definitely like it, read it, and try to even respond. And don't forget, if we gain a lot of likes on this video, then I make a new video for you, which will be a list of the worst pumpable tanks from the update 10.3, which is definitely not to pump. Well, that's it guys, I'm done. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hugs to everyone and see you in the next videos. Bye.